when you get to a public company that you're doing these official kind of board reviews, I mean, ISS does like you to do them. They're actually fairly taxing to forms, the standard forms to do this. But I think that the leadership on the board, whether it's the CEO, if there is a lead outside director, or just someone who has the stature to be able to act as sort of first among equals on the board, can help at a minimum prevent the downside risk of bad board behavior. So what you sometimes see, I'll say, is VCs who are on too many different boards. I've seen VCs show up to a board meeting and think he was in a different company, right? So start asking questions about a different product. It happens a lot, especially when you have investors who have 10 or 12 boards. They just show up and their admin has sent them to that meeting, and they just didn't get the brain in the right gear. So that's bad behavior that probably the person will be embarrassed enough that it's self-regulate, but having your board members and your company members being respectful of everybody, show up on time, right? Dial in on time, have read the material, be conversant with the facts. So someone can be the enforcer to at least get you to avoid those mistakes. Those mistakes happen all the time. I mean, just because also probably they're happening in your company you probably have some executive who's late to meetings and you can't tolerate those kind of things. And then if you have a disruptive board member, right, the one who talks too much or goes way into the weeds or pontificates too much, as a CEO, you can ask another one of the trusted directors to help manage that relationship so that the CEO doesn't have to take on an adversarial relationship with, remember, I said this in, I think, a blog post or an article recently, your VC investor board member is you've hired your boss, only your boss has a contractual permanent right to be your boss. So you can't really get rid of him or her, but what you can do is ask somebody else on the board to help corral him or her, and either in private or even in the meeting, stop it. Say this, thank you for sharing, Tom, Dick, or Harry, but that, we're really focused on this other issue, so we're going to set that aside for right now. And those are the conversations the CEO's having, some of the conversations CEO's having in private with the other directors, and how to orchestrate the meeting. Not to orchestrate the meeting such that it's a play and everything is already pre-baked, but to know that if we get off topic, if we're running, if time is running short and we haven't got to the important topics yet, if the interpersonal dynamics are bubbling over, if the economic dynamics are bubbling over, because what will happen sometimes is if you have some investors who are in the company at a very inexpensive cost basis and some investors who are in the company at a very high cost basis, they will want to do different things with the company. And being able to acknowledge that and manage that in meetings is really important. So as a CEO, understanding what's going to happen and find your trusted advisors on the board to help you manage those dynamics. And sometimes managing those dynamics means bringing them into the light, acknowledging them, and then kind of being able to move forward in a productive way.